Have you ever wanted to win at one life and think that you were going to lose the entire time? And you were scared shitless the entire time?
Welcome to Psy. What's going on, everybody? It is Necro Ninja, and today we are bringing you we're bringing you for the first time a Mana Dorks guest deck tech, and we have a very special one for you right now. We have One More Game MTG, aka Chris, with us today, and he's going to show off his side deck.
Hell yeah.
Pretty excited. This one was featured on episode 3 of Mana Dorks, so if you guys want to check that out live in action, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and make sure you go watch that, because that was a pretty fun game if I remember correctly. It
was a lot of fun.
I remember dying. I remember losing that game. I think to Psy. So let's go over the basics of Psy. What does Psy do? What is his goal?
All right, so Psy Master Thopterist, I'll zoom in on here. The entirety of him is to cast artifacts and make 1/1 Thopters, and then it also has the back end value of pay 1 and a blue, sacrifice 2 artifacts to draw a card. The value of it is a 1/4, so when it comes to removal, it works very well to avoid it, because if you have a creature with 3 or less power, it's probably going to get removed very easily. So it can sit in the board with no issues. So what you want to do is just cast a bunch of artifacts, get value off those artifacts, and then just spam the board with a bunch of flyers, because far more often than not, flyers win games. You can say they don't, but how many games have you played where you lost to a flyer very easily?
Like every game there is a flyer I have lost.
And it's so true. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, one, they're not just making typical servos, they're making flying Thopters. There's synergies with artifacts, and in mono blue, there's so much value for artifacts from the boot, so why the hell not? And secondly, the main reason, there's 2 total main reasons as to why I built this. One, I wanted to use the mud artifacts and like the mud frames, because I don't know why, but I'm obsessed with them. I think they're fantastic.
They're beautiful. They're legit.
And so it's that, and white border lands are my favorites of all time. But then the secondary reason is when I was at MagicCon Vegas, I sat down at a table with someone and they had a Talran deck where they're like, this deck is designed solely just to be on other, like to play with for fun, basically, where it's strong enough, but it's also weak. And it's like this is legit a level 7 deck where you get set at a table and you know it's going to be able to compete, whether it's super strong, just casual play out, and it's got some fun play styles, so you can have fun with it. And I wanted to make this deck where I'll fancy it over time, but I want it to be like, this is my $100 build. Boom. I can set it at any table. I know I don't have to worry about like, oh, do I have to bring something stronger or weaker? I can just bring the deck and I'll be good.
Awesome. So I know that I've lost to Psy. What are some of your key lines to victory? What kind of lines are we looking at here?
So the main line is just to cast a bunch of artifacts and then just spam the board with a bunch of Thopters. And with the value of the Thopters, what you want to do is use cards like Rise and Shine, make them all massive. Graz, make them massive. Another fun one is Coat of Arms. I've included Coat of Arms because it can create so much jank where it's not just like your stuff, it's everybody's stuff gets huge. So it's a fun little like quirky thing to play around.
For a quick callback to episode 3, I do remember you playing Coat of Arms and giving denied, I'm pretty sure 88 bunnies. Like,
yeah, they were kind of massive, and that's like the main reason why that card is in this deck. Just because it generally will help other players more than myself, and I just think that is so much fun, just to see how people react to, oh, you just played this.
Yeah.
So I think that's wicked awesome for that. The last 2 staples of winning would be Strix Stadium, just because it's kind of quirky to try to kill someone with just you lose the game effects. I always want to include, when I'm having a fun deck, I want to have at least one thing that just straight up says you win the game or target player loses the game. And like the MVP of the deck is Kappa Cannoneer, because it can become absolutely massive. Again, shout out to the previous episode where this dude can get like so huge.
Oh yeah.
And because he has the extra ability of can't be blocked, he is going to smack it. So it's a 4/4 for improvised ward 4. It's gotta hit the board and it's gonna make an impact.
He is a scary turtle. That is a scary turtle.
Yeah.
Awesome. Out of everything, out of all of the cards in your deck, which one do you feel like is your most favored? Every time you pull it, you go, "This is it right here."
I honestly would be the reality chip. The reason being I like the reality chip so much is because one, it's an 0/4 body for 2, it's an artifact, so it's automatically a bunch of synergies with Psi, and same thing, it can be brought as like a very high toughness. The benefit of this is that it's an equipment creature, so if I were to put that onto Psi or any other creature, I'm getting a lot of value, but if that creature were to die, the jellyfish stays. So it's like a 2-for-1 where it can be a creature and an equipment at the exact same time. Benefit of it being an equipment, I can look at the top, and when it is equipped, I can play things off the top. So it's a secondary version of Mystic Forge, where this gives me a lot of extra value, which I can, because the deck has got so many artifacts, I can snowball very quickly with that attached to a creature. So it's very powerful.
Beautiful. So you said it was kind of a budget build. You said something around $100, correct? Right?
Yep, that's correct.
If you were to go ahead and make, non-budget upgrades to it, what would be, maybe your top 3 that you would add in here?
Probably just lower costing artifacts that like Zerodos, like Mox Opal and stuff like along those lines, where basically they're a 0 mana artifact that can tap for mana. I think that alone can really up the speed of the deck, because like Mox Opal, for example, or Mox Amber, they cost 0, they can tap for mana, and I can get a trigger off of Psi. It's a 2-for-1 at that point. So it'd be those 2, and then I would probably also throw in, Basalt Monolith, just to create infinite mana.
Oh yeah.
With the different combos that are in the deck. So those would be like my 3 main includes. Like, they're not gonna have a lot of like overall value to the deck, but I feel like it's just like that's one extra little step that can really push me to the higher price, like the power level.
How often do you win with this deck?
It's kind of a 50-50 in all honesty. And I think that's what makes this deck so much fun, is it's not winning all the time, it's not losing all the time, it's like just smack dab in the middle. The reason why I enjoy playing it so much is there's a lot of draw in the deck, because artifacts can just create draws on their own. And I always say, if you have a draw engine in the command zone or any sort of card advantage in the command zone, you're already one step ahead. So like, even when I think that I'm losing, I can still pull back very easily without having to do too many different things. It may be a little convoluted with certain combo lines that I have in the deck, but having that draw engine right there off my commander, I have that extra resiliency of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Here I go. I can sacrifice a random artifact that I no longer need and get value off that.
Yeah. All right. So one last question. How easy is this to pilot? So somebody say they've just started getting into Commander and they want to pick up an easy budget deck. How easy do you think this is to pilot for a newbie?
By default, I'd say probably around a 6 out of 10 for difficulty if you want to have the full lines, because I do have the Mirror Retriever Scrap Troller combo line in the deck, where I can generate infinite mana off of these things with an Astronaut's Altar. So that combo is like a level 10 confusion level. The overall deck itself, if you take that aside, like a 2, it's play your commander and then just play a bunch of artifacts and turn things sideways. That's really all it is. You don't need to use the combo line off the Scrap Troll at all with the recursion effects. That could just be on just incidental value. So this is one of those decks that you could like throw on a table, and at the boot, it is very super simple to learn. If you want to start digging deeper into the deck, it can be pretty confusing to start getting those lines. A lot of times myself, even when I'm starting to play it out and I go, I may have the Astronaut's Altar line, or I have another like combo thing in there, it gets even very confusing for myself, even though I've played this deck multiple times. That's why I still give it a little more higher than not. It's a mid-ish, but like you could be super low end where you just jump right in and just get decent value, all the way up to like it can be these infinite loops and whatnot and get a lot of value that way.
Sweet. Well, that is our first official deck tech, and it's a good one. I enjoy watching Sai pop off. I enjoy getting beat down by like a 90-90 Thopter. You know, those are fun. So if you guys want to see this deck, I will have the deck list in the description down below. If you want to follow our good friend here, One More Game MTG, Chris, he actually has, if you look right below his face there, you can see he has his link right there. I will also put it in the description down below so you guys can easily access that. Chris, thank you for coming on for our first deck tech. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have you on the show again later on down the road. And
Oh yeah.
Awesome. I will see everybody else later. Kisses. Thank you. And toodaloos. Bye-bye.